Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Zoe has come in today. She's my co-op student and she wants to film a question and answer. So she has compiled a list of questions and she's going to surprise me with them. So let's get into the video. Or while we're answering questions, I'm going to get some work done because it has been busy and I got to get a commission done by the end of April and it is coming fast. But Zoe, where did you even get these questions?
I went through your 10 most recent videos to see what people have been asking on YouTube. So you'll be answering the YouTube questions.
That is fantastic. So while we're doing it, I am setting up to prime this canvas red in my little studio. There's a big canvas and I'm gonna paint it red while we're chatting. Is that okay? I gotta do double duty here. It's a busy day. So all I'm gonna do is, usually I pre-mix the red paint 1 to 1, but today I'm just gonna squirt it on and add lots of water while I brush it on. So just so you know, in case this was a question, I don't know, I might be preempting one of your questions, Zoe. I always start my canvases red. I use Winsor & Newton Galleria acrylic, and I mix it 1 to 1. Use whatever color you want though. This is not a rule. Use whatever color you want on yours. Okay, while I'm working, Zoe, what you got for me?
The first question was sent by one Tabby. They asked, what paint brushes do you use and are they natural or synthetic?
Oh my goodness, I kind of have been avoiding this question. Look, I had to put down paintbrushes. So I have gone through a variety of paintbrushes because every time I find one that I love, the company goes out of business and then I have to find another. So if you are a paintbrush company, send me some brushes because it would be wonderful. So I'm just gonna pull a bunch that I have and we're gonna talk about them. So for a long time, I used a Curry's blend. Curry's was in my city, but that store shut down. I should look online, see if there's a Curry's brand. And that was a synthetic. So this is one of them. And I use about a 3/4 inch for detail. So that was what I used a lot, was Curry's brand, synthetic. Then I found, and this is gonna be hard because I think I've avoided this question because I've painted over all the names. This is a Brunel. Now, okay, so this is a Brunel and I bought this in Kelowna at Opus Gallery. They didn't have the same brands. Who knew? Over in BC, not the same brand. I really like that one. For a long time, the synthetic was quite flexible and soft. This Brunel is a little stiffer and at first I didn't like it. Now I really like it. Now, Michael's had a great brand and it was, let's see if I can get the paint off, Royal and Lang Nickel. Okay, it's a square, it's about 3/4 of an inch. So I range between an inch, inch and a half, 3/4 of an inch, half an inch. This is another Curry's brand. This big one, again, is Royal and Nickel Jumbo. So I think it would be a combo in my jar of brushes between Royal and Nickel Jumbo. And now they have discontinued those at Michael's now too. And I've tried looking them up online. I don't know where I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna have to try something again. Most of my brushes are synthetic. They are not real horsehair. I treat them badly, so they can't be expensive because I treat them badly. So I want you to have permission. Don't freak out. Take care of your brushes, wash them, do a great job. I use, oh, I did a short about this, Zoe. Look, I only had an inch left of Murphy's oil soap. So I cut the container because this is kind of the perfect shape. If I had put this at the bottom of a round, it would have only been like a 1/4 inch. So this was perfect. So now these have been soaking in there, but now these will wash out and they'll be brilliant. So that's a great way to wash your brushes. But I use my brushes until the paint falls off them. Like, look at that. Sometimes I get slivers. So there's nothing magical about my brushes. What's next?
Mimi's Art asked, do you find it makes a difference painting on wood versus painting on a canvas?
That is another great question. So here, do you see the bounce? I'm getting a real bounce. And I get that when I'm painting the actual image. On wood, there is no resistance. So the brush behaves differently on the wood. The paint is absorbed slightly differently. I'm not going to say that I love one more than the other, but if I'm up for a change or a switch, switching to wood is a great thing to do. I like them both. That was a lot faster than the brush one. Third question.
Sorry if I say this wrong. Vivi and Ibrel849 asks, what is your fave way to get acrylic paint off of your hands?
Okay, I just wash my hands, and my hands end up being dry, and all evening long I rub lotion into them. Now, a friend of mine, my friend Brenda McCafferty, who you've seen on this channel before, she always suggests rubbing lotion into your hands before you paint. I never think of it. So I use soap and water to get it off. And right now I have a really nice manicure. And sadly, paint got underneath my manicure and I can't get it out. So now I'm stuck with like this green aspect. I'll call it a fancy design. Maybe I should have the manicurist do a design on that finger. All right, another question. Are we on 4?
We are on 4.
We're on 4. But I want you to notice that I'm not caring about how I'm brushing this on, okay? I'm standing where the paint is. I'm making sure that it's all on. I'm not going any specific direction, nor do I care what the end result is. I'm just getting rid of that scary white.
Susan Marco 7005 asks, hey Julia, can you please tell me the company who makes the Stay Wet palette with the wells on the perimeter?
Okay, so the Stay Wet palette, it's not called a Stay Wet palette, the ones with the wells. This is a Mijello. 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 And it's great because it has all the wells. And then the lid has a rubber gasket, and that closes tightly, keeps the air in. Now what I do is this is almost done. Today on this, when this is dry, I'm going to be using this paint to color block the commission and get rid of it because it's time for a clean palette. This is getting really gummy. But usually when I close it, I spray it down just with water. What's the next question?
Debbie J2823 asks, wondering about the Vaseline on your palette and whether it will migrate into your paints as you're working.
Zoe's talking about another video where I was trying, because as these age, the plastic gets a little scratched and paint gets in there. I decided to rub Vaseline, a thin layer of Vaseline over the whole thing, and the paint really did come out quite nicely. This was interesting. I had a few comments that thought that the Vaseline would get into my paint and cause issues on the canvas. It did not, so it seemed fine. But what I really loved is that it didn't wash off super easily, and that Vaseline layer lasted quite a few palettes. So I didn't have to do it every time. I did it once, and it kind of filled all those scratches.
Sorry if I say this name wrong. Rhonda Umla asks, do you tend to use warm colors with other warm colors of the same value, or do you try to mix them up?
So value is how deep and how light it is. It's tint and shade. So if I'm using warm colors, which are orange and quinacridones and yellows, I think I change it up. I think I can get really rich warms with the quinacridone, which sadly has been discontinued. But I do want to, this is a perfect transition. I was going to say, I got a lovely package in the mail. And Wendy, if you are out there, I want to say thank you. Wendy found a quinacridone burnt orange, bought it, and sent it to me. I feel really pleased. Now, I've tried it. It's not exactly the same as the quinacridone by Golden, but it's lovely. There's a translucence to it that I love as well. So it's slightly different, but I'll go with it. I'm going to look this up and see if I can get some more myself. So this is Wendy Grisham, and she sent me a lovely card, and what a treat to get that in the mail. So the question was, do I use, different values? So yeah, the quinacridone burnt orange tends to be a really rich, dark color, and I'll definitely use a whole variety of colors. Now, if I'm not answering that well enough, who was it again that asked that question?
That was Rhonda Umlaw.
Okay, Rhonda, if that is not a good answer and that doesn't answer your question perfectly, please leave a comment below and let me know what it is you were kind of asking if I didn't answer that right. But yeah, I use a whole warm section of my palette and I add whites, but I never add black. Black is not a shade that I use to darken my colors. I use darker blues, a Prussian blue, a diaxazine purple mixed with quinacridone is amazing for rock shadows. So, okay, we almost got this finished. Let me come over here. I'm gonna come over here and finish this corner. Okay, we were only gonna do 5 questions, but I think we answered those pretty quickly. So I'm gonna finish this, then I'm gonna get set up to varnish 5 square foot paintings because we have a great square foot show coming up that I'll tell you about, and we'll get the other questions. Okay, I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. I'm gonna varnish while Zoe asks the next few questions. I use, and I've always traditionally used a gloss varnish, but this time I've added a little bit of satin, swirled it in, probably about a 1/3 to 2/3. So it's not as glossy as it used to be. I don't know, am I mellowing out? I don't know. So, all right, Zoe, while I varnish these 12 by 12s, because there's a great square foot show, squarefootshow.com, is coming up and it's trees. And if you sign up on the website, Square Foot Show, you could win the painting. We will overlay it here. This is the painting that I'm giving away as a prize. So go sign up at Square Foot Show for our newsletter. You'll hear all about us and all our updating shows, but you'll be put in for the draw. So, okay, next question. That was a unsolicited advertisement for Square Foot Show.
Speaking of Square Foot Show, Sydney Casmore has a question about it.
Okay.
They're wondering what percentage of the price do artists receive when in the show?
So artists get 60%, so it's a 60-40 split, which is more than galleries. Galleries usually do 50-50. Artists are responsible for getting their work to the client, but we give you the name of the client, they become your customer, and for that, you also get all the free advertising, all of the marketing that we put towards. We have thousands on our mailing list that get your name, they see your work. Galleries peruse the Square Foot Show, and it's been really neat to see new artists who come to Square Foot Show get picked up by galleries. And we've got lots of stories of artists who this has launched their art career and built them enough that they've been able to quit their full-time job. So we do 60-40. There's the answer to that question. I love varnishing, by the way. Let me see if you can see what happens. So if you get in really close, do you see how this is all kind of matte right now?
Yeah.
When the varnish goes on, I always say it's like wetting a rock. Everything just comes to life. It just becomes richer. The whites become whiter. I don't know if that's translating on the video, but these 12 by 12s are all paintings of trees because the next concept for Square Foot Show is trees, and we're going to be planting 10 trees for every painting sold. So if we sell 100 paintings, we're going to plant 1,000 trees. Okay, next question.
The next question is from Resistante 8347. They asked, do your paintings on wooden tondos take longer to dry? And what are your tondos made of?
Interesting. My tondos are made of birch. I get them at Rustic Burl in London, Ontario in Canada. And I do not think so. I think they actually dry pretty fast because they get absorbed right into the wood. The paint gets absorbed and they dry just as fast as on my canvas. So that was a quick answer. That was easy.
Alicia 9000 asks, what kind of acrylic varnish do you paint over?
We pre-answered Alicia's question. So this is Liquitex Professional Acrylic Medium. It's a high gloss varnish that I've mixed a third satin varnish into. You see that? So it looks very white, and I pick it up and I brush it on. Oh, here, look, look, look. The reds are gonna pop. Watch when I put varnish on. Do you see the red popping?
Oh, yeah.
And the pinks and the whites and the creams get creamier. I'm going to do down here. Varnish is magic. Like, look. Do you see it? Everything just becomes juicier.
It's very shiny.
Yeah. It just brings everything to life. It brings all the little strokes out.
One viewer asks, "Good afternoon, Julia. I was wondering if you could share how many paintings you finish in a month."
Oh, okay. I feel like that's a question that's hard to answer. If I had no interruptions, I could probably finish 4 to 5 bigger paintings in a month. I always am painting for Square Foot Show, so I do about 5. I'm going to give myself 2 medium-sized a week. But I paint 5 days a week. Although that's a lie. I don't paint 5 days a week. I'm interrupted all the time. But I would like to paint 5 days a week. But when I paint, I am productive.
Irina Beeland asks, "How does that hanging wall system work? Please tell us how to build such a convenient French wall."
So, a French cleat wall, my husband used 2x2s and attached it to the wall. Then he used a 3/4 by 3 piece of wood. This is angled in. This is a 90-degree angle. This is a 45-degree angle. This is the cleat that I attached to the back of the painting. Do you see how it's also angled? So this fits in there perfectly and hangs the painting. I have a handy drill in my studio that I keep charged. Okay, so I take the French cleat, and on one this big, I would put 2 in it, but I line it up with the top. Okay, if you're a professional contractor, I drill very badly. And I put it in. And I put it in. So then this is now attached, and I can put it on my French cleat wall, and I can go up and down, and it's pretty great. Google how to build a French cleat wall, and you will see lots and lots of explanations with drawings probably. All right, any final questions?
So lately you've been doing a lot of galleries all over. So I'm curious what it's like to do galleries somewhere in Alberta compared to here.
So that's an interesting question. We'll finish the video showing you around the gallery because you probably saw that there's lots of things on the wall. Right now, I'm working on work for Avon's Gallery in Canmore, Alberta. And they're mountains. That's where the Rockies are in Canada. So I am painting a series of mountain paintings. So my paintings from there will have mountains in them. That's how I'm prepping and building a body of work for that gallery to sell. None of the paintings that you'll see are sold, but we're painting them and sending them there, and hopefully they will send them. And as an artist, I package them up, I pay for shipping, and then they receive them and they take 50% of the profit. But they have a whole gamut of customers that come and go. It's an awesome gallery. It's great. They have been my hottest seller in the last month and a half. They have earned their commission. So in reality, if you think about it, I have paid for the canvas, I've paid for the paint, I've paid for the shipping, and I have paid for packaging, and we are splitting that retail cost 50-50. So they actually are getting paid just a little bit more than me, but I don't mind when I can get an automatic deposit and I have had a Sunday off or a Saturday off and it's sold. So I don't mind. These paintings are all color blocked that you're gonna see. So you'll see that I've made a lot of decisions and there's a lot of paint on the canvas, but I still have to push and pull. I have to push the mountains back, brighten up and bring things forward, make things contrasty and identify shapes and things out of that. So this is one that I'm doing. And I have a lovely gentleman whose name is Ron, and he has wonderfully sent me his photos, and I'm very grateful to you, Ron. And so then here's another one of Ron's photos. And again, this is a bit even hot messier. You can hardly see what I'm doing down here. I know what I'm going to be doing, but I have color blocked using that palette. This whole thing, you're probably watching this after Easter, but it's the Easter weekend coming up. I have a lot to do. I'll be back to work next week. This is when I will be finishing these paintings. And the final painting is this fun one of Spirit Island out near Jasper. And this is color blocked, and it's got a lot for me to do to come back in to tighten it up. There's too much red showing through. The sky looks very pink, and even through the blue. I got lots of layers yet, but it's fully color blocked. So I'm going to finish with the story of the red canvas that I'm doing. I am redoing a painting. Avon's Gallery in Canmore sold a wonderful painting to a wonderful couple and sent it to Austin, Texas, which is absolutely great. But it arrived very damaged, too damaged to repair. So that is sad. Avon's Gallery has great insurance, so I got paid for that painting, so that's great. But the customer didn't end up with a painting. So now I am redoing the painting. I'm going to be printing out the image that I did. I can kind of go by that. They know it's not going to be exact. I can't reproduce brushstrokes like that, but it is going to be a redo. And the neat thing is I get paid again. So it turned out to be a sad story. The customers just have to wait a little bit, but they're going to love it. And I get paid twice. So that is nothing to complain about. So I hope that you have nothing to complain about. I hope you go and have the artsiest of days and that you have a lot of fun and you come back and visit me in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this question and answer. I had no idea what Zoe was going to ask me. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.